Jolene Schmidt, didn't the president of the University of Virginia, fearful of violence, tell people not to go out to meet the white supremacists? Can you talk about the organizing and just what took place this weekend? And on Sunday, you passed the white supremacist Richard Spencer. I mean, there were a number of people there. David Duke was there celebrating President Trump, in fact.
Yes, well, with regard to the statement put out by University of Virginia President Teresa Sullivan, it was a very tepid statement, and yes, again, as she did with the letter before the Ku Klux Klan rally on July the 8th, again encouraging university affiliates to avoid protesting this rally. And what was unacceptable about that on a moral level is that the University of Virginia has its own ties to the Ku Klux Klan from the 1920s. There was a chapter there of the Klan at the university. The Virginia Knights of the Ku Klux Klan pledged $1,000 to the University of Virginia for their Centennial Fund in 1929. This went unmentioned in President Sullivan's letter. Also, the two main organizers of the rally on Saturday, of the so-called Unite the Right rally, are graduates of the University of Virginia. Both Richard Spencer and Jason Kessler are UVA alums, and that also was unacknowledged in the president's letter. So she was advising UVA affiliates to avoid protesting the very white supremacy that the university has historically been involved in, not just with collusion, but with actually producing systems of white supremacy. That was unacceptable.
And you passed Richard Spencer on Sunday?
I was walking down the downtown mall. I was trying to get away from the site of his 2 p.m. Actually, it was Jason Kessler, a local activist. I was trying to get away from the site of his planned 2 p.m. press conference, so I was walking in the opposite direction at the opposite end of the downtown mall, which is an outside pedestrian mall. I saw the police with riot shields lining up 2 deep, just going into formation, a large number of them. And I thought, oh no, this isn't good. And then sure enough, I see he who shall not be named approaching toward me. So I ducked into a comic book store. I told the proprietor, the workers there, what was going on, and they spirited me out the back door and into an alleyway where I waited until things calmed down for it was about a half hour. This was the second time in 3 days that I've had to leave, a building, through either a side entrance or a back entrance and be spirited away by my security guard. I've had 24-hour security on me. I've not been staying at my own home. I've been staying at a safe house. And this was the second time that my security guard has had to, kind of escort me out of a situation. As Dr. West was mentioning and Reverend Blackman, I was also in St. Paul's Episcopal Church on Friday night at the Mass prayer service when we became trapped inside by the large gathering of the torch-bearing Nazis that was taking place just across the street from the church. We were trapped in there. I tweeted from inside the church. It was retweeted many times. I said, we're trapped in here. And then my security detail, just kind of whisked me out a side door. We went, down an alleyway and then hopped into his car and took back streets out of there. So this has been a very tense few days. Going on here. It started already on Thursday. I got white supremacist flyers stuck under my windshield wiper, and then Friday morning already there were helicopters circling overhead all day, already starting in the morning. Yeah.
And one of those helicopters went down. That's right, killing 2 of the officers who were inside the helicopter. We're going to break again, but when we come back, this particular rally and Nazi torch march through the University of Virginia, in response to the statue of Robert E. Lee being taken down, the parks renamed. Now Emancipation Park was Lee Park, and Jackson Park is now Justice Park. You, Jelaine Schmidt, Emancipation Park, you, Jelaine Schmidt, have been very involved with this Confederate monument removal movement, and I want to ask you about that as well. We're talking about terror in Charlottesville this weekend. Latest count, 3 dead. One anti-white nationalist marcher, pro-peace and justice protester was killed when a white nationalist crashed his car into the crowd. 2 police officers in a helicopter also went down on Saturday. Stay with us. For radio listeners, we were just showing pictures of Heather Heyer, the 32-year-old woman who was killed in the car attack, the terror attack on Saturday in Charlottesville, as counter-demonstrators challenged the white supremacist march that was there. This latest response this weekend to Robert E. Lee's statue being taken down. There are some who are saying Robert E. Lee's statue should be replaced by Heather Heyer, a statue of Heather Heyer. Jelaine Schmidt is with us, organizer with Local Black Lives Matter, professor of religious studies at the University of Virginia. This whole Confederate statue removal movement, you've been involved with this. Can you talk about it and what it meant, what it means for Charlottesville?
Sure. So about 1.5 years ago, a young African-American high school student started a Change.org petition to have the Confederate monuments removed. This garnered several hundred or a number of signatures. A city council member took up the charge, and then the city council set up a blue ribbon commission to consider the Confederate monuments. And so there was a series of public hearings over a period of about 6 months, concluding in December. And over the period of 6 months, as it started out, a few people even were aware of it or were keeping track of what was going on, few residents of Charlottesville. And the folks who attended tended to be older white folks who favored keeping the monuments. As more and more people found out, in part through the efforts of activists, we started inviting our friends and neighbors, informing them about what was going on. And so as more people found out what was going on, more people started attending, until by the end of the process, 6 months later, opinion had switched, at least among the attendees, basically 180 degrees. And there was large attendance of folks who were in favor of removing the monuments.